Super Smash Bros. Ultimate had a wide range of boss fights across different video game franchises, and I think that's something to be appreciated, especially when it created its own ones, like Gallium and Darkon, and brought back Master Hand and Crazy Hand. So today, I thought I'd sit down and rank not the top 10, but rank all the boss fights in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So yeah, sit back, relax, and watch me talk about nonsense. I don't know about you, but the Giga Bowser boss fight seemed a little lazy to me. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how else they would have spiced it up, but it's literally just Bowser's original Final Smash. I mean, it's Giga Bowser, and yeah, but all things considered, it could have been made way better. And it just, like, his attacks are slow, and it just feels like once you get a strategy down, you're good. I feel a little bad saying this though, just because, I mean, I don't really know what else they would have done, but still, could have been a way better boss fight. That's all I really gotta say about it. The only reason I'd say Gallium is any better than Giga Bowser is just because he's a little harder to beat. His attacks haven't been updated much since Brawl, and he's fairly slow in terms of speed. But he's more powerful and more creative, so I mean, I guess that makes him better. But yeah, he's not the best boss fight in the game. I do feel like I'm kind of attacking these boss fights a little bit so far, and that's not the intent at all. But I do have to be fair, and I do have to explain my reasoning, and my reasoning for this is that Gallium is just not a great boss fight. Moving on. Rathalos is also kind of slow and fairly easy to beat, at least when compared to the other boss fights in the game. Again, his attacks are slow, and once you get a strategy down, you'll be good to go. But the reason Rathalos is better than Giga Bowser and Gallium is just because I like his attacks a bit better. That's really all there is. For these three boss fights, I'm basing it off of creativity and attacks, yes. There's nothing else I have to say that's new about this boss fight, so let's just move on. We're getting to a point where the boss fights are starting to get more fun. Master Hand is still great to this day, and his attacks have definitely been updated for the better. Each variation of Master Hand in each Smash game just keeps getting better and better, and this is Master Hand at his finest. His attacks are like you'd expect, hand stuff, and he's got some new ones, like I always said. I mean, I'm sure you fought Master Hand before. I mean, he's in every variation of Smash. So if you own a Smash Bros., you fought a Master Hand. But he's at this point, his moveset was getting a little stale, and we kind of got used to fighting him. So, I mean, that's not taking away points, I just think it's worth mentioning. And compared to some of the other boss fights on this list, he's also not very creative. But how could I say that? Master Hand is and always will be one of the best boss fights of all time. But not as great as what's coming up. Crazy Hand is just a little bit better than Master Hand. Simply just because he's a little bit more difficult to beat, and his attacks are just objectively better. Same goes for him. His moveset has, I don't know what I was trying to say there, but his moveset has been changed for the better. It's been updated, and His moveset still just a little bit stiff, but you know, it's Crazy Hand. That's pretty much it. Still one of the best boss fights of all time. But he's very similar to Master Hand. And yeah, I don't have a huge preference because they're both fairly the same, but Crazy Hand's just objectively better. So yeah, there's nothing I have to say about Crazy Hand that wasn't said about Master Hand, really, so let's just move on. Now the boss fights are getting really good. I really like the Ganon boss fight in Smash, and I like the idea of having to jump behind him, not them, to hit his tail thingy. Just like how it is in the actual Zelda games, and I think that's a nice reference. I'm having a hard time remembering what the boss fight really was. It's been a while since I've fought him, but I remember he had some pretty good moves, and let's put it this way, you're never bored while fighting him. There's really, all the boss fights in this game are kind of similar, so it's hard to come up with stuff to say, but you get my point. Or stuff to say about each one in particular. So, but I think you all get my point, so I'm just gonna move on. Everyone always talks about how great of a boss fight Mark's is, and all that stuff. But me personally, I don't see what's so great about it. It's a great boss fight, I just don't really get it. Maybe it's a great reference to the Kirby games? I can't really tell. I haven't actually even touched a Kirby game before in my life. Yes, you're allowed to be mad at me. I'm mad at myself. So, I don't really know. But it's a good boss fight, don't get me wrong. I'm just clarifying that I don't think it's as good as some people say it is. And, but I will admit, I had a lot of fun fighting this boss fight. And it's a great boss fight. Marks has some great attacks. And you're never bored while fighting Marks. And it's just a fun boss fight all around. So I have to applaud for that. But, it's time to move on. So, yeah. You get it. It's time to move on. I absolutely loved the Dracula boss fight in Smash. And I've never played or seen Castlevania. You don't even have to know what Castlevania is to enjoy it. But I have seen clips of it after I fought the boss fight, and I know relatively what Castlevania is now that I've fought it, or fought him, you know what I mean. And let me tell you, this boss fight, it actually has some pretty fantastic references to Castlevania. Now, I haven't seen all of Castlevania, but I know enough to know the history of this boss fight, and like, one thing I noticed is Dracula's weak spot is his head, like in Castlevania, and he goes into his second form, which is the monster guy. You know what I mean? I forgot the name of it, but he goes into that form, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think that this was a great boss fight, and I love the fact that it was included in this game, and it was really a nice boss fight, and I like how he has two phases. I think it's a very creative boss fight. That is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Okay? Okay. I'm putting Galim at number 2. Galim was a great boss fight and was very creative, and it's just a joy to fight him or her. So, yeah. It's great. Great boss fight. I'm having a hard time coming up with things to say. That's really it, to be honest. Galim's a good boss fight. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you already know who number 1 is, so might as well get to that. Galleon's a great boss fight, though. I feel like feel a little weird for not really saying anything specific. I mean, Galleon's, that's it. I can't think of anything else. I'm sorry, but I want to save some stuff for number 1, though. That's part of it. So let's just move on to number 1. I think Darkon's just a teeny little bit better than Galleon. And some of you may agree, some of you may disagree. So, yeah, but I just found Darkon's attacks were objectively better, and he objectively looks cooler. Now, I will admit, at this point in the game, when you're fighting Darkon, you're just so sick of World of Light. I hate to say that, though, because there's so much work put into it, but it's true. You kind of just get a little tired of it by the end. If the game had stopped or had been, like, I don't know, just like if it had stopped after you fought Galleon, that would have been the perfect length. I get that they, like, when there's light, there's dark, so they had to bring in Darkon at some point, but I'm getting off topic. But anyways, I think that the second half of the game should have been cut in half. Well, I mean, then it wouldn't be half, but, like, you know what I mean, like, the part, once you defeat Galleon, that's what, like, the game should have, like, gone by really fast after that instead of dragging on more. But yeah, I'm getting off topic. Let's talk about Darkon. He basically takes all of Galleon's attacks and improves them, while also adding a few of his own. That's really all he does. So, yeah. I think Galleon and Darkon, these two could be interchanged. I don't really even have a preference, but if I had to choose with a gun in my head, I might say Darkon. So yeah, it's whatever you'd prefer. These two could be interchanged. And I think most people out there would agree with me. But yeah, I think Galleon and Darkon's attacks were really creative, especially considering they're both just floating balls. So yeah. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Smash Ultimate has some pretty good boss fights, and I have a fun time fighting all of them. Now, I should mention I wasn't counting the boss fight where you fight Galleon and Darkon at the same time, because that's not its own original boss fight. That's just the two of them fighting, or you fighting the two of them at the same time. That's all it is. So, you know, you get it. And maybe one day I'll rank all the boss fights in Brawl. I know there are a lot more in that game, so I might get around to that someday, but we'll see. Anyways, like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.